Call the calendar and then we'll get going.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's position 2, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So you don't need an interpreter, but you want to break out?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Judge Regina Mincy, and we're going to begin our Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. This is the calendar for cases in which individuals have been arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused the cases of the offenses brought against them, and the cases have been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's initial appearance before state court judge. So we're going to are able to address several matters, including bond, possible arraignment, or consideration of a possible plea.
Don't touch that. Don't touch anything. This is okay. Okay, don't touch it. Don't touch no words.
I'm going to begin and advise everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube. I want to also advise the defendants on this calendar that you do have a constitutional right to have an attorney represent you in these proceedings, which most of you do. And you also have a constitutional right to remain silent. Anything that you state about the facts and occurrences, as well as the circumstances of your case, can and will be held against you at a later date. Govern yourselves accordingly. Listen to your attorneys and try not to make any statements unless your attorney advises you to. All right, so we're starting with position 2. Jasmine Brown, case number 22 CR 005188G. You're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. The offense date is August the 3rd, 2022. Oh, let me also say, I believe our reset date is August the 18th. Is that correct, Ms. Grace?
That's correct, Judge.
All right, August the 18th. Can you also put me in a breakout room? Looks like I need to be with Ms. Kim, Mr. Silverman, Ms. Falk, Ms. Tortorella.
And me as well, Judge. Good morning. It's Derek Howard. Good afternoon, rather.
Good afternoon. I haven't talked to you in a bit.
Yes.
Let's add Mr. Howard. He looks like he's in another country or state. We'll add him to the nice background. We're not used to seeing that background either.
City of Atlanta.
Oh, this is it is downtown. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Judge, the interpreter is online.
I'm sorry?
Spanish interpreter is online, just letting you know.
We do not need the interpreter for this case. I don't know if there are any other cases that need an interpreter.
I don't think so.
No, Judge, we don't.
Okay, then Madam Interpreter, I'm going to relieve you. We do not need you today.
Okay, Your Honor, it was a reset for medical reasons from yesterday. I just want to make sure you don't need me, right?
Who is that? Who's speaking again? Oh,
That I am the,
The interpreter was speaking and the reset was Miss Brown.
oh, yes, that was the reset from yesterday. Yes, we will not need your services today. Thank you.
okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good afternoon.
You too. All right, again, this is the case with Jasmine Brown. Can you hear me, Miss Brown?
Yes, sir. Okay, you're fine.
Okay. All right. Miss Brown, what we're going to do is your case, the bond that is set at 1,000 surety bond, that bond will remain in place with the $1,000 surety bond. I'm going to order that you stay away, in very strict conditions, stay away from the Waldorf Astoria Hotel at 3377 Peachtree Road. Not go back there under any circumstances. If you do, you'll wind up right back in jail. You understand that?
I wanted to just clarify some things. If you don't mind me having the floor, having the time to.
I do mind. Very brief question, because that question probably should be posed to your attorney.
Honestly and truly, I was able to contact my attorney yesterday. And for the simple fact is, I was an actual person there. I stayed there at the Waldorf. I stayed there, and I left my purse at the Waldorf. And when I was trying to get back to the Waldorf,
Okay, I think you don't.
it was an issue.
I'm not here to hear the facts of your case.
Okay.
I'm only making a ruling on bond. This is not a hearing regarding your guilt or innocence at this point, and
Okay.
making statements that may be against your interest regarding the facts you should not do. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So the key here today is that you have a $1,000 surety bond that you will and are ordered to stay away from the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. Okay? And you're not to go back there. And you're going to be placed on a calendar next week, and they will evaluate you to see what other services will be needed. Okay?
Now, Judge Mincy, that doesn't make any sense to me for the simple fact that I already been here for 48 hours. And they said I was trespassing when that wasn't the case. For the simple fact that I cannot be held here over 48 hours. That'll be, hostage at this point, like some kind of hostage situation at this point. So
No,
for me,
you're not. Hold on. Hold on.
I'm able,
You're not being-
and I have the funds to bond myself out. And my thing is, I don't need a bondsman. I don't have to pay the bondsman right now to bond myself out. I could just pay the ticket of trespass that they allegedly say I'm trespassing.
No,
to
no,
go
no,
about my
no.
day.
I'm gonna stop you there. I'm gonna stop you there. I'm
Yes, ma'am.
going to stop you. I'm gonna
Yes, ma'am.
ask that you please be quiet, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you have an attorney, that attorney should enter an appearance and should have been on the Zoom call today if you have a valid attorney that has been hired to represent you.
I can represent myself. I'm perfectly competent and knowledgeable to represent myself. And being that my attorney is not eligible to be in attendance today because they say, according to Silverman, he called, he didn't get an answer. I don't need a bonds. I have my own private lawyer. That's the thing.
No, this is not a cash bond. This is a surety bond, and it must go through the process for the surety bonds. So again, I'm going to also add one other condition: no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while you're on bond, except for medications that may be prescribed to you.
Now, from my understanding, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
I'm not
it doesn't
going
make
to,
any
hold
sense.
on, I have the floor. I'm
Yes,
not going to argue with you. I'm not going to go back and forth with you. This is my ruling. We've discussed your case. And so you're going to be placed on the competency hearing for next week. And that is the ruling of the court, unless you want me to change it and make it a little more severe than it already is. I considered increasing your bond, but I'm going to be a little understanding at this point on that and leave it at the $1,000. I don't think it is wise for you to represent yourself at all. You should get counsel Counsel's being provided to you from the public defender's office. If you don't want that and you want a private attorney, that person must enter and be barred in the state of Georgia, and they must enter their information and file it with the clerk's office, and they know what to do from that if you have a valid private attorney. At this point, you do not, because we have not been able to hear from that attorney. So you will be there at least until August the 11th, waiting for that calendar and to be evaluated, okay? All right, thank you.
Go.
Judge, we have,
What's the point of this? It's like a bond hearing? I'm perfectly able to bond myself out, so.
next, Judge, we have position 4. Good afternoon, Judge. Mr. Daly.
Position 4, okay.
Hello, Your Honor.
This is Mr. Daly.
All
Yes.
right,
All right, my case, Your Honor.
okay, thank you, Mr. Silverman. This is case number 22 CR 005218A, Brandon Daly. You're charged with 1 count of simple battery family violence. The offense date is August the 4th, 2022. Pretrial?
First.
I'm sorry?
First.
Oh, first. All right, Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommending a $3,500 surety bond. The conditions is that he have no contact with the victim, Frida Rackman, and the first name spelled F as in Frank, R-I-E-D-A. The last name is spelled R as in Robert, A-K-H as in house, M as in Mary, A-N as in Nancy. That he stay away from the incident location at 900 Providence Ridge in Milton, Georgia. 1-day anger management, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on August 4th, 2022, the defendant, Brandon Daly, did intentionally batter the victim, Frida Rockman, by pushing her. The defendant and Ms. Rockman are married and have 3 children together. The defendant was arrested, and all these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, the state understands that he does not have a criminal history at all. However, this is a domestic violence matter. And if Your Honor decides to grant a signature bond, we do ask that they stay away and have no contact, as there has not been enough time for the cooling off period, Your Honor. Nothing further.
All right, Mr. Silverman?
Thank you, Your Honor. I spoke with Mr. Brandon Daly earlier. He's been in Atlanta for 17 years, and he does have 3 children and is married to Frida. Mr. Daly is in the business of selling and training doctors in the use of medical devices, endosurgical devices. So he travels for business. He is unfortunately in the midst of a acrimonious family situation that headed towards probably divorce issues. Mr. Daly has no objection to a stay away. His situation specifically is that he travels for business. He's going to be going out of state for the entire week, and when he gets back, he'd like to make one visit to retrieve his belongings, escorted by a law enforcement officer. And upon his return after traveling, he intends to find another place to live. There's no objection to no further violent contact order, but he would like to avoid a no further contact because the parties are married and they do have the 3 children. Based on no criminal history and the circumstances of this incident, I think that a signature bond would be more than appropriate. It'll be more than appropriate, and so we'd ask for $1,000 signature bond.
And Your Honor, the state just stresses the no contact, stay away, and if he would like to see his children, we could do a third-party transfer.
Okay. I'm gonna order a $3,500 signature bond through pretrial. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the marital home at 900 Providence Ridge in Milton. I'm going to order at this time no further contact with Frida Rockman or Daly, whichever name she goes by, his wife. I do want there to be that cooling off period, so I'm going to order no further contact. I'm going to order, if she allows visitation with the children, that be done by a third party so that he will not have any contact with her. That visitation should be arranged by someone else. I'm going to also allow that one-time law enforcement visit back to the home to retrieve his personal belongings. Even if it's going to be a week out, it may take that long to get it scheduled anyway. So just keep pretrial apprised of obviously what your address is and where you're going to be staying in the interim. They'll talk to you about that. And did I say no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond?
You did.
I think that's all we need to take up at this time.
Thank you,
Anything
Your Honor.
else?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Mr. Silverman,
Yes,
is there any way that you could buzz the room here? Did you end up getting those numbers that I requested from the other lawyer?
I did not yet. I was not able to make contact yet.
No worries. That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyway.
Position 3, Mr. Cypher.
This is case number 22, CR 005217C. Mr. Cyperin, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, you have 2 counts of criminal trespass, 1 count of battery, all with the offense date of July the 3rd, 2022. Pre-trial.
6 total. Last arrest was in January. Suspended license NOLO 2019 FTA for simple battery. That simple battery was dismissed last year. 2018 disorderly conduct and the 2018 theft by taker. That's it.
Ms. Tartarella.
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommending for the battery for the current 1,000 surety bond to be raised to a $5,000 surety bond. For the criminal trespass damage to property, for the $1,000 surety to be raised to a $2,000 surety. For the criminal trespass for unlawful purposes, for the 1,000 surety to remain the same. That would be a total of a $8,000 surety bond. The conditions is that he have no contact with the victims, Miles Johnson. The first name is spelled M-Y-L-E-S. The last name is Johnson, traditional spelling. The second victim is Bishnu Thapa, and the first name is spelled B-I-S-H-N-U, and the last name is T-H-A-P-A. For him to stay away from the incident location at 6125 Roswell Road, apartment 501 in Sandy Springs, Georgia. 1-day anger management, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on July 3rd, 2022, the Sandy Springs Police Department responded to the incident location on Roswell Road, apartment 501. Through their investigation, the police department learned that the suspect, later identified as the defendant Corbin Cyprian, barged into the incident location and struck the victim, Miles Johnson, several times with his hands, causing Mr. Johnson's nose to bleed and a bump on his forehead. The defendant trespassed on the property of Bishnu Thapa without her consent for the purposes of committing battery against Mr. Johnson. In the process of the defendant striking Mr. Johnson, the defendant damaged a shelving system belonging to Ms. Thapa, worth $100. The defendant was eventually arrested, and these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, we are concerned that this defendant poses not only a chance to intimidate the witnesses and the victims in this case, but also he is a risk to public safety. Though he has a short cycle, Your Honor, he has a history of violent offenses and domestic violence charges. He was charged with aggravated assault, case number 18 SC 162028. The incident date occurred on September 3rd, 2018, and where he held a knife at the victim and struck the victim with a 3-pound weight. This case was dismissed due to his completion of pretrial diversion in the DA's office. In his prior simple battery case, which occurred 2 days after the aggravated assault case, 18 CR 008594J, he threw the victim, his girlfriend at the time, on the ground. The officer observed a red mark on the victim's neck, and like I said, it occurred a couple of days after the ag assault. And this case was dismissed by our office. For that reason, Your Honor, we are asking for the $8,000 surety bond. Also, the victim, Mr. Johnson, we were able to contact him. He stated that he was in town with a female friend of his at her residence, Ms. Tapa, when the defendant just walked in and began to attack him. The defendant is the ex-boyfriend of the victim's friend, which Mr. Johnson's friend. Mr. Johnson stated that he does not know the defendant and has never seen him before. And Mr. Johnson stated that he sustained a black eye, scratches and bruises on, and a shoulder pain, Your Honor. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 24 years old. He has some college education, he tells me, and he works for the Georgia Department of Health and Human Resources. He's been living in the state of Georgia for more than 4 years. He denies that the alleged incident happened as stated by the prosecutor. He tells me that he was at his girlfriend's house. She was his girlfriend at the time. And Mr. Johnson, who came out of town from Louisiana, came over to the house. They got into an argument. Mr. Johnson struck him first, and he was simply defending himself when he struck Mr. Johnson. So he was not the initial aggressor, Your Honor. I'd also like to point out that in terms of his record, I noticed that the 2 charges that were alleged against him were actually dismissed, according to what the prosecutor stated. So he really has no significant record. Just because someone is charged does not mean that they are guilty of anything. My client is a productive citizen. This alleged incident took place more than a month ago, Your Honor. He's not a danger to anyone now. He tells me that since then, he is no longer in a relationship with this woman, and that Mr. Johnson is not someone that he really knows. Based on that, Your Honor, I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond, but if the court is not inclined to do so, to give him a low bond, one that he can make so he can get out of jail and get back to his work and to his life. Thank you, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, the state would like to stress that we're going forward with the 4 corners of the warrant. We do have witnesses, both Mr. Johnson and Ms. Tapa, who provided the police officer with statements. I'm not sure where opposing counsel is getting her statements other than the defendant. And Your Honor, just because the state dismisses a case doesn't mean that the defendant was actually found not guilty. Nothing further.
And as far as this incident, were they roommates or just, what was the?
No, Your Honor, the young lady in question was his girlfriend, and apparently there was some allegations of cheating or something, Your Honor, and the 2 men got into an argument. That's my understanding of what happened.
And Your Honor, the victim that sustained injuries does not know the defendant, and Ms. Tapa is the defendant's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend. I'm not sure about their status at this moment.
They are not in a relationship any longer, but they were at the time of the alleged incident.
Okay. All right, I'm going to order a signature bond through the jail as is recommended. I'm going to make that amount $5,000, which will be, let's see, the breakdown will be 2,000 on the battery, 2,000 on the criminal trespass damage to property, and 1,000 on the other trespass.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And also no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the 6125 Roswell Road, apartment 501 in Sandy Springs. And no further contact with the victims, Miles Johnson or Vishnu Thapa. And I think that's it. There shouldn't be any need to go back to that property, I'm assuming.
No, Your Honor, they never lived together.
Never let, okay, all right. So Mr. Cyprian, just stay away from that property, okay? All right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
All right, good luck to you.
Position 1, Mr. Atwater.
Come on, Joe. Oh, what's up?
This is 22 CR 005216J, Desmond Atwater. You're charged at 1 count of battery family violence. The offense date is June the 6th, 2022. Pre-trial.
First.
Okay. Ms. Tartarello.
Yes, Your Honor, the state's asking for a $4,500 surety bond. The conditions is no contact with the victim, Nadija Bradley. The first name is N as in Nancy, A, D as in dog, E-J-A-H, and the last name's Bradley, traditional spelling. That he stay away from the MARTA Civic Center station where the incident took place at 435 West Peachtree Street, Northwest in Atlanta. 1 day anger management, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on June 6, 2022, Officer O'Neill of the Atlanta Police Department responded to a dispute call at 12:24 a.m. at the MARTA 5-Point Station, 30 Alabama Street Southwest. Upon arrival, the officer spoke to the victim, Miss Nadija Bradley, who advised she and her son, MB, initials, took the MARTA train from the incident location at the MARTA Civic Center station, address already stated on record. Ms. Bradley said that on June 5th, 2022, at around 11:30 p.m., she arrived at the Civic Center station to meet with the defendant, Desmond Atwater, the father of her child, to pick up her son, MB. The officer observed that Ms. Bradley was bleeding from her nose and that she had bruising in that area. Ms. Bradley advised that the defendant struck her in the face with a closed fist. An APD investigator followed up with Ms. Bradley, and her statements were the same as the police report. However, she advised she did not want to pursue charges. Defendant was eventually arrested, and these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, we are concerned as far as intimidation of witness. This defendant knows the victim. They have a child together. And so we do fear that once out, he may contact Ms. Bradley. To add, Your Honor, this happened on June 6, 2022. However, because this is a domestic violence situation, you just heard statements from the victim. She said the same things as the police on the police report. However, she did not want to pursue the charges. This could be indication of cycles of violence, Your Honor. And for that reason, if you're inclined to give this defendant a signature bond, we are asking for that no contact, nothing further.
Thank you. Your Honor, I think a signature bond would be appropriate in a situation like this. The parties are the parents of a child. They do not live together, so no contact should not be an issue. Surety bond of $3,500, though, we believe might be a little high, so we'd ask that that be a signature bond. I thought I heard the state mention stay away from MARTA. Did I hear that correctly?
That's correct, counsel.
Okay, I would object to that. MARTA has nothing to do with this other than the fact that it happened on Peachtree Street in front of the MARTA station. according to the arrest affidavit. So stay away from MARTA, which just wouldn't make any sense in this case. Mr. Atwater has steady work, doing various labor and construction assignments. He's been here in Atlanta for 6 years. Again, he has the child, so he's got ties to the community. He's 26 years old. So once again, I think that signature bond in whatever amount the court deems appropriate would be the right way to go with this. Thank you.
How old is the child?
1 year old. We're just about to turn 1 year old.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to order a $4,500 signature bond through pretrial.
Is that 4,500?
Yes. 4,500 signature bond through pretrial. Gonna order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order the 1-day anger awareness course through pretrial. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Nadaria Bradley. And if there's visitation with the minor son, that it be arranged through a third party, if they can do that safely or without him having any contact with her. I'm not going to order to stay away from MARTA, because I do believe that's just the incident location, but not that he did something to the riders and things of that nature of MARTA. So there will not be a stay away except from the address of the victim. I will order that. While he's to have no further contact with her, he's also to stay away from her personal residence, wherever that may be, where she and the child reside. Anything else?
Not from the defense, thank you.
All right.
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Okay, you're done. Position 8, Mackey.
This is 22 CR 005210J. Jeffrey Mackey, you're charged with 1 count of battery and a 2nd count of giving false name, address, or birth date to law enforcement officer, both with the offense date of August the 1st, 2022. Pre-trial?
This 4th arrest. He was just arrested on the back in June for trespass. That's open. 22 CR 004117J.
Can you repeat that case number one more time? 22 CR.
004117J.
Thank you.
Got history out of Minnesota. Last arrest there was 2011 for theft. Pled guilty. 2009, no valid driver's license. Guilty.
All right, Ms. Bacchus?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on August 1st of 2022. An officer was dispatched to 1073 Piedmont Avenue. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with the victim, Mr. Derek Thomas. Mr. Thomas stated that while at the park, he was assaulted by a male who was later identified as the defendant. Mr. Thomas stated that the defendant was littering in the area and he told him to stop, and then the defendant struck him in the face and on his head. Mr. Thomas did have visible swelling on his forehead, but the defendant had left the scene at the moment. So days later, Mr. Thomas called 911 stating that he observed the male at the location again. The officers arrived and Mr. Thomas walked them to the defendant. The officers approached and they detained him. They asked him for his name and date of birth. He stated that his name was Steve Bird and gave a date of birth of February 4th, believe it was 1979. I believe that's the date that he gave. I'll have to check one just to clarify for the record. But upon running the information, the officer saw that it was a different male's picture and information. And so they were able to use their fingerprint scanner and see that, get his correct identity. Your Honor, the state is asking for, I believe there's already a bond in place on count one, a $1,500 surety, and on count two, a $500 surety. The state is asking for count one to amend to a $2,500 surety. No further contact with Mr. Derek Thomas, a one-day anger awareness, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And on count two, the 500 surety bond to stay in place. So in total, a 3,000 surety bond. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 33 years old. He has been living in the Atlanta area now, he tells me, for about 4 years. He is not currently employed, unfortunately, although he's looking for work, and he tells me that he is homeless. He does have the equivalent of a bachelor's degree, he tells me, Your Honor. He denies that the facts are as stated by the prosecutor. He said that he sometimes volunteers in Piedmont Park and that the alleged victim is someone who keeps coming into the park specifically to watch young children. He suspects that he's a pedophile. He's seen certain behavior in him. So they had an argument, and the gentleman in question pushed him and he pushed him back. And that's essentially what happened, Your Honor. He's not in a position to pay bond because he is not employed and he's currently homeless. I would ask the court to take that into consideration. And also the fact that this is a stranger to stranger situation. They do not live together. They really are not acquainted as such.
Your Honor, if I may, the story that the defendant is giving obviously is different than the story that the victim is giving. But I would just note that the officer did observe the visible swelling to the forehead, as well as the defendant said himself to his attorney that he sees this person. He's seen this person multiple times. So for her to say that they're strangers and no further contact is not necessary, isn't the case, because they will likely see each other again. So the state is still asking that no further contact stay in place. Nothing further.
My client would not object to the further contact. Well, what I meant, they are not acquainted. They're not acquaintances. He may have seen him because he thinks he's seen him and his behavior has been suspicious, but they are not close. There is absolutely no reason why for them to encounter each other. That's what I meant.
And the state's position is that they may. So we're on the same page. They may not be acquainted, but they may see each other. And so for that reason, the no further contact is important. And she doesn't object. So we're on the same page.
I don't object to that.
All right. I am going to leave the bond at, and I believe it was 1,500 on the battery and 500 on the false name for a total of $2,000 surety bond. And I'm going to order stay away from 1073 Piedmont Avenue. Is that the park's address?
I believe so, Your Honor.
And no further contact with the victim, Derek Thomas. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that will be it. Anything else?
Did you, oh, okay. Did you issue the one-day anger awareness, Your Honor?
I did not. Since he's unemployed, I won't put that on him.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Next, we have position 6, King.
Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, Your Honor. Same to you.
All right. Deputy, did you say 13?
Position 6, King.
Oh,
Is this Edward
I
King?
really didn't hear that.
Yes, Edward King.
Okay, thank you.
I thought that was position 7. Okay.
So we doing 6 or 7?
Because I thought Edward King was position
Oh,
7.
Edward King is 7.
Okay, 7.
Oh, I apologize. Yeah, it's position 7.
Okay. All right, this is 22 CR 005209A. Edward Rashawn King, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, 2nd count of fare evasion, and a 3rd count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. All 3 charges have the offense date of August the 4th, 2022. Pretrial?
It's 5th arrest. Hold on.
Okay.
All right, last arrest was 2017, simple battery against police. That was in Clayton County. He pled NOLO. 2017 contempt of Superior Court out of Clayton County. 2010 simple battery conviction. And a 09 possession of alcohol below legal age. He has an East Point hold. That's it.
All right. Ms. Backus?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on yesterday, August 4th. The defendant entered the Peachtree MARTA station without paying the fare or tapping a breeze card. He was on the premises despite receiving several criminal trespass warnings and requests to vacate. The officer then approached and attempted to arrest the defendant. He resisted by snatching away while the officer was trying to cuff him. Your Honor, on this case, there's a $1,000 surety bond on each count already in place. The state is on count 1, the state is asking for a reduction to $500 surety and to stay away from the incident location, which is the Peachtree MARTA station at 216 Peachtree Street. And on count 2, it's a reduction to a $500 surety as well. And on the 3rd count, the $1,000 surety, we're asking that remain in place for a total of a $2,000 surety bond. Again, with conditions to stay away and to comply with any active MARTA suspensions, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. King is 32 years old, and he has been here in Georgia almost all his life. He has 4 minor children that he has to pay child support every month, and he's not married. Of course, he's been a single father, and he has his business here. However, his business is not doing well, so he is working at auto technician place for very little bit more than minimum wage, Your Honor. He graduated from high school. He was actually 3.5 honor student at high school. He went to go to college with a scholarship. However, with twins and 2 more children, he chose to be a sole breadwinner for the family and sacrificed his education. And he dreams to pursue his education more. We would like to request for a signature on bond because he claims that he had a breeze card, which didn't work, but there was a credit balance on that card. It just did not work at the machine. So he wanted to explain that to the officer. However, the way that it just happened to be arrested and things happened like this, and there was no former warning about criminal trespass, and there's no active MARTA suspension, and he uses those MARTA to drop off and pick up his children. So he needs to use MARTA. So we would like to object to the stay away from MARTA, Your Honor. Thank you.
And the 4 minor children, he doesn't take care of them right there with their mothers, I guess.
Together, he pays for a child support. And then he also takes them to the school and brings them back. So.
Okay. I'm going to enter a $2,000 surety bond, which will be on the criminal trespass 500, on the fair evasion 500, and on the willful obstruction 1,000. So that'll equal $2,000 surety bond. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the Peachtree station, Peachtree Center Station, MARTA, and adhere to any other adhere and comply to any other MARTA conditions, or if they already have their trespass orders, or they banned him. That was the word I was looking for. I'm sorry. Sometimes they've already banned him from riding MARTA, so he needs to check with them to find out what's already in place, because I certainly don't want to order anything that contradicts what MARTA may already have in place for him. But he needs to comply with that first. And there is nothing that's been requested regarding contact. So just that stay away, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. That would be my ruling at this point.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Next, we have Mr. Edmond, position 5.
Okay. This is case number 22 CR 0052208. Mr. Jorge, I believe. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Make sure I'm not Mr.
George.
It is George, okay.
No, George.
DeGeorge Edmond. You're charged with 4 counts. The first being theft by shoplifting. The second, misdemeanor disorderly conduct. Third, willful obstruction of law enforcement officer. And the fourth, same thing, willful obstruction. All with the offense date of August the 4th, 2022. Retrial.
The second arrest. Last was 2019, 2 counts of ag assault, 1 count interference with government property. That's open. 19 CP 186770.
Okay. Ms. Tortorella.
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommending for the theft by shoplifting a $500 surety to remain a set. For the disorderly conduct, the $1,000 surety to remain a set. For the obstruction, the $1,000 surety to remain a set. And for the second obstruction charge, a $1,000 surety bond. That would be a total of a $3,500 surety bond. Conditions is that he have no contact with the victim. His name is Jalays Shifa, and it's spelled J-A-L as in log, A-Y-E, S as in Sam. And the last name is spelled S as in Sam, H as in house, I, F as in Frank, A. That the defendant stay away from the BP gas station at 2261 Cascade Road Southwest in Atlanta. That he take a theft class, 1-day anger management class, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, on August 4th, 2022, yesterday, Officer Spencer and Officer Say of the Atlanta Police Department were dispatched to the BP gas station in Atlanta in reference to a larceny. Dispatch advised the suspect was a black male wearing a black and colored jacket. As the officers turned on Cascade Road, they observed the suspect wearing a black jacket zipped up, later identified as the defendant, DeGeorge Edmond, at the service center of the station. As officers approached the defendant in the patrol car, the defendant fled on foot, and officers observed the defendant drop something on the ground. The officers continued pursuit in their vehicle and stopped their vehicle at Fontaine Avenue and Belvedere Avenue Southwest in Atlanta. At this point, the officers continued the chase on foot and eventually caught up with the defendant. Officer Say drew his weapon, and commanded the defendant to stop running. The defendant complied, and the officers conducted a show up at the BP gas station to assure that they had the right individual. Victim, Mr. Kifa, described the suspect as a black male with a black jacket zipped up before coming outside for the show up. Mr. Shifa said the defendant came into the store and took a bag of chips and a drink without paying for the same and passed all points of sale. Mr. Shifa said the defendant told him that if you call police, I'll come back here and I got something for you. Mr. Shifa said that the statement caused him to fear for his life, as the defendant is a frequent customer and known resident in the area. The defendant was arrested, and all these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, we understand the defendant only has but 2 cycles. However, as you've heard from pretrial, he has an open aggravated assault case. It's 2 counts of aggravated assault, terroristic threats, interference with government property. The offense date was September 27, 2019, and he was granted a 4,000 signature bond and was released through the jail. Your Honor, currently he is in violation of the above bond order, as it is implied by Georgia law that the defendant do not violate any laws or ordinances of the state while the defendant is out on bond. And therefore, Your Honor, because of this subsequent case, he has violated his bond order. So, Your Honor, not only does this defendant pose a risk to public safety based on the allegations we're hearing here today, but also, Your Honor, he already has a felony, so he poses a risk of reoffending and not only committing offenses while out on bond, but also committing felony offenses. Nothing further.
All right, Mr. Silverman.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to address this issue of the previous arrest because I know it's a concern for the court. Mr. Edmund, currently 20 years old. At the time of the previous arrest in September of 19, he was 17 years old. And the situation involved one or more persons on a school bus throwing a rock at a police car, shattering the window, and hence the charges that arose from it. Several young men who were on the bus were arrested at the time, and perhaps it's not clear who actually committed the offense, which is why almost 3 years later the case remains unindicted. So I would ask the court to just not put too much on that previous arrest. As to this one, as the prosecutor states, this is in fact an issue over a bag of chips and a soda. Whether or not that is an issue of violating his previous bond, I think would be is not appropriately before the court at this time. Now, Mr. Edmund has been offered a job in construction, a guaranteed job that's going to start Tuesday of next week. However, he needs to report to the company tomorrow to complete his onboarding process. He would not be able to make a surety bond in the amount that has been requested. So it asks that the bond either be reduced or preferably just made into a signature bond. That's all I have. Thank you.
And Your Honor, just to stress, this is not simply a matter of a bag of chips. The defendant did make threats to the victim, in this case, Mr. Shifa. So this is more than just a theft by shoplifting case. And therefore, Your Honor, that's why I stated the prior aggravated assault case that he has open, and the fact that he's currently in violation of that bond order. Nothing further.
Okay. I'm going to order a surety bond in the amount of $2,500, being $500 on the first case, that's the theft by shoplifting. The second case, 1,000, and the willful obstruction, I guess 500 on each of those. Is that my math correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a 2,500 surety bond, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. I'm gonna order a stay away from the victim in this case, think it's Miss Shifa. Did I spell that? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
SHIFA.
Okay, Shifa or Shifa. Stay away from the DP at 2261 Cascade Road. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. That should be it. Anything else I need to take up?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing from the defense.
Okay.
You're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Position 12, Shaheed.
Do I have a victim regarding this case?
Your Honor, our office did speak with the victim, and I believe she will be on the Zoom, Ms. Tiara Griffin.
Okay, I see a Miss Griffin on. Let me call this case 22 CR 005214G. Mr. Shaheed, I think it's Keziante or Kazante. They're charged with 1 count of battery family violence, then a 2nd count of simple battery family violence, 3rd count of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. The offense date is April the 23rd, 2020. Pre-trial.
This third arrest, 2017, possession of marijuana. 2018, cruelty in the 3rd, 2 counts. 2 counts of ag assault, 1 count reckless conduct, 1 count criminal damage to property, 2nd degree. He's on probation for that. It's 18 SC 163673. It's ag assault and ag assault strangulation. That's it.
All right, Ms. Backus.
Yes, Your Honor. As you stated, this incident occurred on April 23rd, 2020. Officers were dispatched to 165 Anderson Avenue for a domestic dispute call. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with the victim, Ms. Tiara Griffin, who stated her boyfriend, also the defendant, had just assaulted her and her daughter, Ms. Siler Griffin. Ms. Griffin stated that the defendant began playing with Siler, flipping her on the bed. When Siler was flipped, she landed on the bed the wrong way and she was hurting herself, so she started crying. That's when Ms. Griffin got upset with the defendant for flipping her so hard, and she told him, they started to argue, and she told him Siler's not a little boy and she shouldn't be played with that roughly. And the defendant apparently became angry at that comment, and grabbed Siler by the t-shirt, lifted her off the ground with both of her hands, and aggressively slammed her onto the bed back first. Ms. Griffin saw the entire incident and stated that her and the defendant, I guess it escalated, and he turned his attention to her, immediately punching her in the face with a closed fist. She said he punched her in the face several times before leaving the residence, and the officers did observe a bruise to the left side of her eye. And the officer also noted that the child was present when the defendant struck her mother, who was 7 weeks pregnant at the time with the defendant's twins. So our office did speak with, our victim witness advocate did speak with the victim, Your Honor, and she stated that they are in a relationship, that they do live together, no longer at that incident location, and they share 1 child. The child, Siler is not the defendant's child. And she said that she made this whole thing up, that it never happened, that he never hit her, that she got the bruise on her eye from a car accident. And she did say that DFACS got involved at the time, but the case had been closed, and that she just does not want to press charges because she lied about the whole thing. Your Honor, our office would like to highlight that in 2018, this defendant is already on probation for cruelty to children and 2 counts of ag assault. And I believe in those original, I don't want to state that. I don't want to hold off on the statement that I was just about to make until I verify. But he does have, even though this is a third arrest, he does have a violent history and similar charges that he's already on probation on. Our office also called probation and asked them to execute a warrant on today because he was on probation when this offense was committed. That warrant has been signed and filed. And I believe the warrant number is 18 SC 163673. Your Honor, due to the defendant already being on probation and the violent nature of this occurrence when it happened, the state is asking on count 1 for $1,000 cash bond. There has been some cooling off periods, so no further violent contact with the victim and a 1-day anger awareness course. On count 2, we're asking for $1,000 cash bond and no further violent contact with the victim, Skylar Griffin. On count 3, a $500 cash bond to total a $2,500 cash bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no further contact. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Kim, do you want to go first or you want the victim?
I'll let the victim go first, Your Honor.
Ms. Griffin, do you wish to, hold on.
Yes.
Do you wish to address the court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I know you have your child in your lap. I usually don't like for children to hear. If you have a way to.
I have headsets on.
Okay. All right, so tell us your name again.
My name is Tiara Griffin.
All right, raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what would you like to tell me about this incident?
I would like to say, Kiziante and Skylar, they was playing. It wasn't anything physical. I had found out I was pregnant with twins around that time the pandemic kicked in. I didn't really have a job. And I'm just thinking like, I'm finna be pregnant with 2 kids on top of Skylar. What I'm gonna do, I'm staying with him and his mom. I had a lot going on. I was pregnant. I was upset already. And what I told him was, I said, I don't wanna live no more. I'm tired of this. I just wanna get an abortion. I can't do it. I was scared. So he tried to comfort me and I said, I'm just finna go. So he drove off. So I was mad about that. Him and Skylar relationship is good. He's a great father. In May, I lost Skylar daddy. He got killed. So it was a lot going on. And Kiziante lost his daughter in August from cancer. So, Judge, I feel like I'm the one need help. I need some counseling because it don't even have nothing to do with that. It's just me mentally at the go through stuff, which is knowing my child father got killed and seeing my son walk around the house looking for his dad and looking sad. I just need some counseling,
Okay, I will talk to Ms. Backus to see if she can.
And we just won trial for Skylar dad last month in June. So I had to see images and things that I'm still mentally not over. You know what I'm saying? And
you understand.
I work. Kiziante has a job too. I just want us, we happy. We've been staying together almost 3 years. We've been together for 5 years. I'm not going to say, I don't want to see an innocent man in jail and he haven't did anything. And prior to his old case, I was with him at that time as well with that situation and the baby wasn't his. So I know I don't supposed to speak on that, but he never put his hands on me. We always been happy. I'm just depressed about other things prior, and I don't talk to him or express to him what's going on in my mind because I know he lost his daughter too. And it's like, I don't know, Judge, I just need some counseling. I do. And I still cry sometimes wondering why God had to take Skylar daddy away, but Kiziante came in my life and I killed my son because I needed that comfort for me. and him. So it was just a lot of trauma going on, which the pandemic was, but we do stay together. He stay here, he helped pay bills here. And I have been missing 2 days from work because he's not here to help me with the kids. But I just wanted to tell the truth and let this out because he didn't even know he had a warrant. I never told him.
Right, this incident date was in 2020.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
like at the beginning of the pandemic. And you all have been residing together since that date up until his arrest. Let's see, he was arrested on the 4th, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so I'm also hearing that it sounds like you need some grief counseling as well.
That's basically what I need. I just need somebody to talk to, and I feel like I can't talk to Kiziante because, I don't know how to.
Yeah,
and I take my anger and frustration out on him, not trying to, but I just need somebody to talk to me. I'm going through a lot.
right. And I certainly sympathize with you, but I know that the solicitor's office can give you some referrals for counseling. And we want to get that counseling because you have kids that are dependent on you. And I know that can be a lot as well. So you will be open to them making some referrals to you for counseling.
Yes, ma'am. I really do need it.
And I'm glad you're saying you need it, and I want you to seek it out and make sure that you do it. Because sometimes that grief can come down on you in some weird ways. So we don't want that to happen so that you
and I never really got the grief. I really didn't. So people don't understand how I really feel. I'm not, it's nothing towards him. Like I said, he's a great father. And I'm thankful that God gave me another chance to have another person come in my life. And, so, he hasn't been in any trouble. He do music.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good man, Judge, and I have a son myself. So I just want the help from me.
Okay, I understand. So they will do that. They will assist you with linking you up with some resources and giving you, some help with that. And we do understand it. And so let me have Ms. Kim, who represents Mr. Shaheed, to present her case on his behalf. And then I will give my ruling. Do they have your updated information, I'm assuming, to be able to contact you with those referrals? Okay. All right. Hang on a second. Mute yourself. And I appreciate you taking time to talk. Okay. We'll get you some help. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Ms. Kim.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Shaheed is 24 years old, Your Honor. He was raised here in Georgia. He has 2 children, including the Skylar, who he shares with Miss Tiara. My client was actually working that day. He was not even at home. And his mother, who resides at 165 Anderson, is his mother's place. Okay. And they used to reside together, and his mother can testify and be a witness that he was not even there at that incident date, which was probably beyond 2 years statute of limitation. I don't think he should be even prosecuted at this point. We would like to request for signature on bond because he's the sole breadwinner. He dumps trashes for Waste Pro Management Company. That's what he does all day, clean up so that he can provide for his children and his women in his life. And he's been doing a really, really good job, working hard. And he has a GED from the incarceration when he was incarcerated during 2018. He completed that. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. I don't think he violated the probation at all either. Thank you.
Your Honor,
briefly, if I may, just so we're clear, this case did happen in 2020, but the pandemic tolling language would actually allow this to be accused until 2023. I also want to say that, you know, we definitely understand that Ms. Griffin has grief from the loss of her child's father and the other child. And so our victim witness advocate, Iman Cheney, will assist Ms. Griffin in linking her up with resources to help her during this difficult time. But we do also want to note that we're concerned about her because we're concerned about the cycles of violence. You know how these cycles go. And when she spoke with our victim witness advocate earlier, she told him that he had never been in trouble before. But as you can see, based on the 2018 charge that she just said, that she was with him during that time. So whether or not that child, whatever child she's referencing was his or not, there was still 2 counts of ag assault and cruelty to children in the third that he's on probation for right now. As well as there were visible injuries on her forehead. Her forehead was swollen, according to the officer. So, Your Honor, we understand the grief. We also understand that he went from one partner and violated her physically and did the same thing to this victim. And so we are concerned that even though she is trying to cover her tracks now or retract what she said, that this defendant has a problem with hitting women. And so for that reason, Your Honor, again, we are asking for that $2,500 cash bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapon, and no further violent contact with both the victims. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, cash bond is very harsh at this point. He's financially, his job is not like making so much money at all. Your Honor, we would rather have no stay away and no further contact if he can get a signature on bond, because he really needs to get out and keep his jobs so he can move forward, Your Honor. That location at 165 Anderson, they don't live there anymore. However, he is willing to go there because that's where his mother resides, and they have Miss Tiara has a totally separate place, so it will be okay as long as they stay away and there's no further contact. I think she should be okay.
All right. And I'm making sure, Ms. Griffin, you do not reside at the Anderson Avenue. Is that correct? I may have lost her. Ms. Griffin.
No, I'm sorry. I was trying to handle my kids.
Okay.
No, I don't stay there. I actually stay in East Point in Camp Creek area.
Okay. And Mr. Shahid, where does he stay?
He stays at 165 Anderson Avenue.
With his mother?
Correct. But he was here with me, helping me with my bills since July the 31st of 2020.
Okay. All right, I'm not going to order a cash bond. What I'm going to do is I'm going to
please get him school.
I'm going to order a signature bond through pretrial. Will you take in pretrial by order of the court?
I thought they just did a probation. They got a probation warrant.
Oh,
He
he
ain't going nowhere.
probation.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Oh, because he's already, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
he's already
not
on.
going anywhere. He's currently being
No.
held on a probation warrant.
Because he's on the probation warrant. All right, I'm sorry. Let me do the surety bond. And I'm gonna do that for $2,000. 2,500. I'll do 1,000 on the battery. Family violence, 1,000 on the simple battery, and 500 on the cruelty. $2,500 surety bond. I'm going to also order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order that there be no further violent contact with Tiara Griffin and the child in this case, the minor child. I will not order a stay away from Anderson Avenue since that seems to be where he resides with his mother. And Is there anything?
As to the one-day anger awareness, Your Honor.
Yes, I will order a 1-day anger awareness. Thank you.
Your Honor, to do the 1-day anger awareness class, I think it will be wiser to do pretrial services, Your Honor. He's going nowhere because of probation warrant. So can he get a signature on bond? Even though he gets a signature on bond, he cannot go anywhere, Your Honor.
No, I'll leave it at the surety bond. I'll leave it at the 2,500 surety bond under the circumstances.
Then no anger awareness classes, Your Honor, because then it will be extra cost for him to do it out of.
Well, he has the 2 cases, and so I am concerned about that. He's very young, so he needs to get some type of assistance and maybe some counseling with the victim of some sort to understand how to handle his relationships. So I'm going to leave that condition on there to make sure that he understands and how to get in control of his emotions and dealing with his relationships. Because we have 2 different cases, 2 different victims, and cruelty on both. So I am concerned about that. All right, so that will.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That will conclude my ruling on this case.
Judge, he had a question about his stairway.
Yes,
Yes, so was it a non-stairway, Judge?
I'm sorry.
I said, was it a non-stairway?
No stairway, Your Honor. Mr.
What's the
I'll
question?
call you to explain the bond condition.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't hear, it's very fuzzy.
Okay, you can have a seat over here. You can sit right there. She's gonna give you a call. Position 14, Mr. Williams.
So I got burned up. How much I have to pay?
Position 14, Williams. Come on, Mr. Williams.
Cool.
This is 22 CR 0052198B. You're Charles Williams. You're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. The offense date is August the 4th, 2022. Retrial?
20 total. He's a resident of Mobile, Alabama. On probation for burglary 1st degree, 22 SC 181816. Last arrest was in July for shoplifting. Hold on. Yeah, it was for shoplifting. What else we got here? Also on probation for theft by taking. Got a trespass conviction. 2019 out of state court, 19 CR 000-836E as in Edward. As far as this Alabama history, 2016 failure to appear, 2016 public order crime DV, 2015 domestic violence, third assault, 2014 domestic violence, 2010 domestic violence, 2006 crimes against person, DV, 2 counts. That's it.
All right. Ms. Backus?
Yes, Your Honor. It appears this incident occurred on yesterday, August 4th. Officers responded to 296 Northside Drive Southwest at the Texaco station regarding a male refusing to leave the location. Upon arrival, an officer spoke with the store clerk, Mr. Muhammad Ali, who stated that the male, he had advised the male that he needed to leave the location, and the male refused. The male, later identified as the defendant, spoke with the officer. The officer told him that it was time to leave the location. So the defendant walked outside, but then refused to leave the parking lot. The officer advised the defendant that he could stand on the sidewalk surrounding the parking lot, and he told him that he could go over to the MARTA bus stop that was directly across the street from that location. And an individual at the store also offered him a Breeze card. However, the defendant refused. And so after asking the defendant multiple times to leave the location and him not complying, the officer then arrested him. Your Honor, I think our biggest concern with this defendant is he's already on probation, again, from that 2021 burglary and theft by shoplifting. And so while out on bond, while on probation, you're supposed to have no other violations of Georgia law. He also has the 2 FTAs in 2016 and FTAs in 2019. And so we have concern about him returning, as well as him being a resident of Alabama. His last known address is actually in Alabama, and he's got a significant history there, as recent as it looks like 2019. And he also has an open case right now, from July of 2022, which is a theft by shoplifting, Your Honor. So based on all of that information, I think there's a $500 surety bond in place, and we are asking to increase that to $1,000 surety bond and to stay away from that incident location of 296 Northside Drive Southwest. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to request a signature on bond. If Your Honor is not inclined to signature on bond, please keep $500 as is. Even that he's not able to pay for it right now. He's gonna have a social worker services visit so he can get housing resources. He has been homeless lately, and he says that he has a Georgia address, and he's been here in Georgia for a long time. And he has 3 children, and they're all minors. And he also has to work at a construction industry, pouring the concrete. And his education, highest one was 8th grade. We would like, he's got no other, he has a probation, so he will have to, we do understand that there's a reason. However, we would like to request that $500 remain the same.
All right, I'm going to order a surety bond in the amount of $1,000. I'm going to order the surety bond in the amount of $1,000. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I order to stay away from 296 Northside Drive Southwest, which is the Texaco. No further contact with the clerk there, Muhammad Ali. And I guess that will be it for right now with the bond. Anything else from either council that I need to take up?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Kim, your attorney will call and speak to you about the bond.
Mr. Charles, I'll call you to the jail to explain. Thank you.
Oh, you done. Position 11, Mr. Robinson. Okay, you're gonna sit down.
All right, this is case number 22 CR 0052113C. Dwight Robinson, you're charged at 1 count of simple battery on August the 4th, 2022. Pre-trial?
7 total.
11?
7.
Oh, 7, okay.
2012 was the last arrest. Simple battery conviction out of state court. Before that was 2004 probation for simple battery. And that came off a conviction from 03. That's it.
Okay. Ms. Backus?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred on August 4th. That was yesterday. An officer was dispatched to 2440 Barge, that's Barge Road Southwest, in reference to a dispute call. Upon arrival, the officer met with the victim, Mr. Tommy Corbin, who explained that one of his neighbors intentionally pushed their walker into the back of his knees and hips. Mr. Corbin said that it was after he did not hold the door open to the building for the neighbor. The neighbor was later identified as the defendant. Officers made contact with him in his apartment, and he admitted to intentionally pushing his walker into Mr. Corbin's and to the back of his legs and hips. A building employee, Miss Nerese Blunt, stated that she witnessed the incident as well. And her and the victim both signed witness statements on the scene. Your Honor, there is a $1,000 surety bond in place. Okay, so it looks like before I get to that, it looks like our victim witness advocate did speak with the victim, and the defendant are neighbors. They live on the same floor. And the victim stated that they have had verbal confrontations in the past, but this was the first time that the defendant got physical with him. And he wants no contact. The victim wants no contact with the victim, with the defendant. He will be on Zoom if Your Honor wants to, or he should be on Zoom if Your Honor wants to sound for him. But the state is asking that $1,000 surety bond that's in place, we would like to convert that to a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. And our office is really doing that based on just his age and a lack of recent history. But the defendant needs to have no further contact with the victim and attend a one-day anger awareness course, and nothing further, Your Honor.
What is the victim's name?
Tommy Corbin. Tommy is spelled Tommie, and Corbin is spelled Corban, as in Nancy.
Okay, is Mr. Corbin on the Zoom? Don't look like I see. I don't think I see anyone fitting that name. All right, I don't think he's on. Go ahead, Ms. Kim.
Actually, Mr. Robinson, we do not have any objection to signature on bond. No further contact is okay as well, as long as he can go and return home. This happened. He is 45 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for the last 45 years. And my heart was aching when I found out that he actually has huge disability. As you can see, Your Honor, from the screen, he has only one leg, and he lost his left eye. He also has to get dialysis almost because of his kidney failure. So he's very exhausted and tired and frustrated. And he really needs to get back home to take care of himself. So we would like to go ahead and accept the plea, signature on bond, and no contact is fine, Your Honor.
All right, and
But
then
do enroll this class, please. It's really hard for him to move around nowadays.
the Barge Road, who resides there? I see the defendant is raising his hand. He and the victim both reside there. They're neighbors. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Are they gonna be able to stay apart?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Robinson, you have a signature on bond. So please, let's stay silent. You have every right to remain silent.
What's the bond amount, Judge?
I hadn't ruled yet. I was just making sure on some of the conditions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to enter a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial. And per judge, I'm going to order there be no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'm doing that, Mr. Robinson, with the condition that you have no further contact with Tommy Corbin. I know you all may live on the same hall or something of that nature. If you come out and see him coming out, you need to go back in and wait till he leaves, or make sure that you don't have any contact with him so that you don't end up back in jail on your $2,500 bond. But I won't order a stay away, but certainly no further contact with Mr. Corbin. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Judge, I have
Thank you.
quick announcements for position 6 and 13 bonded out, and also position 9 and 10 waive their appearance.
9 and 10 are reset.
No, 9 and
they-
10, they waived appearance. I can represent them without their presence.
Say that again. My volume is not very great today. 9 and 10 are what again?
Waiver of appearance.
They're here.
No, they waive their appearance.
Oh, waive their appearance. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was getting every other word. I apologize. And both of those are represented, both of them are represented by Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge. We're concluded here in courtroom 2.
All right. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, you too.
All right, we'll go to position 9, 22 CR 005211Y. Zahari Moraine is charged with 1 count of failure to leave campus or facility of university system when directed. Offense date is August the 4th, 2022. What do you have pretrial?
A lot. 58
Oh.
total.
58, okay.
Last arrest was in April for trespass. He got history out of Missouri, Tennessee, Illinois, Mississippi, and Arkansas. I'll just give you the Georgia history.
I was gonna say just Georgia the last couple of years.
He was arrested in April on Martyr for trespass. He pled NOLO. Before that was 06. Entering auto, criminal damage to property, 2nd degree. Those were convictions. So that's the last of the Georgias in recent history. Missouri, 2013, tampering with motor vehicle in the 1st degree. 2013, theft less than 500. 2013, stealing of a motor vehicle. 2012, trespass 1st degree. Last arrest in Tennessee. 2010, disorderly conduct. Conviction. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Unless you want more.
Nothing.
Well, I'll give you one more. I'll give you one more.
Okay.
2017 burglary out of Illinois. And that was a conviction.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Backus.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on yesterday, August 4th. The defendant entered onto the property of the Georgia State University, more specifically the premises of the Rialto Theater, located at 808 Forsyth Street Northwest. And he remained there after being given numerous criminal trespass warnings to stay off the property on 6/20/2022. He was given a 2-year suspension from that entire Georgia State campus. Your Honor, there's a $500 surety bond in place. The state is asking that stay in place and just to stay away from that incident location. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. We would like to request for signature on bond. Well, he is currently homeless. And he has been here in Georgia for 13 years. Even though he does not have any children, he has his family members here. However, still nobody can help him out with a bond. So he has to stay here and he cannot get a job because of his disability as well. So we would like to request for signature on bond only because he has no financial means to pay for any of those. And we are asking social worker services to have a visit so he can get appropriate help. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to leave that $500 surety bond in place. And again, stay away from Georgia State University. There's a 2-year suspension already there. And I will continue with that as well as stay away from 8040. Is it 8040 Forsyth with the Rialto Theater?
80 Forsyth, I believe.
804 Forsyth, okay.
Just 80 Forsyth, 80 Forsyth.
Got you.
Okay.
No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that will conclude this case. Anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. And the next one is position 10, 22 CR 005212J. Is it Colando Potter, charged at 1 count of criminal trespass? Offense date August 3rd, 2022. You have anything pre-trial?
11 total. Hold on. Last arrest was August 2021. Probation out of Newton County. 2017 probation. He was convicted in 2017 for battery DV, cruelty in the third. 2016 suspended license conviction. 2016 probation. He had a suspended license, making false statements pertaining to motor vehicle insurance. Hit and run, he pled no-load to that. 2014 shoplifting conviction. 2014 marijuana possession conviction. That's it.
All right. Ms. Backus?
Yes, Your Honor. Just to let the court know, the state will be submitting a supplemental accusation. This defendant, so on August 3rd, this defendant entered to the Georgia World Congress Center Authority, I guess via the inclement weather bridge. And as he approached, he lunged forward and struck a Samsung TV, a 65-inch Samsung TV with his right hand. The strike to the television screen damaged the liquid crystal display to the point where it was beyond repair. And during the incident, the defendant was wearing an orange jacket and black shorts. And so when he was later located, he was wearing those same clothing. He was wearing that same, the same clothing items. And that's how the officers were able to identify him from the still pictures and the video that was captured when he committed the offense. The current accusation is showing as a criminal trespass, Your Honor, but we will be amending this to a criminal damage to property below $500. The total amount of the TV, I believe, was $487 and some odd change. Your Honor, there is a current $500 surety bond in place. We're asking for that $500 surety bond to remain in place, a stay away from the incident location, which is the Georgia World Congress Center at 325 Andrew Young International Boulevard, and a BHET. Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Potter is 28 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for about 20 years. He has one child and he has no employment. He is also residentially challenged. However, he does not have any other need for BHET or anything else at this point. I believe that social worker services visit or housing resources is sufficient. We would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, $250 surety bond is also, he's not going to be able to get out because he has no money whatsoever. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this defendant, the $500 surety, at least the state's position is that it's appropriate. He has, I believe he's on probation. pretrial, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he's currently on probation, and he also has a warrant out of Covington, Georgia. I did, it's showing as active. I did call to verify, and I have not reached anyone yet, but that's from December of 2021, Your Honor. And so a $500 surety bond, the state feels is more than appropriate, nothing further.
All right.
Yeah, he got a warrant out of a probation warrant. I don't think he's still on probation. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But his last arrest was December 2020. I mean, no, August 2021. So he could still be. But I mean, in 2018, they gave him 12 months. Now, Judge, it did say disposition, conviction, and mentally incompetent to stand trial. So,
Right. So for the 2017 conviction, he was determined to be mentally incompetent to stand trial. So the BHET is also a request.
Can we schedule for, reset for competence calendar, Your Honor?
The state is requesting an NHET.
BHET to ensure that he needs, but if he gets competency calendar, I'm sure the social worker services will go out there to make sure that to verify whether he's competent or not for the trial. So I think that would be a good start, Your Honor.
So we're trying to do this one like the other one, put him on the competency calendar for August the 11th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's do that the way we did the other case. Put him
Sure.
on for the competency calendar for August the 11th.
Mhm.
And I will continue with the $500 surety bond. Put him on that calendar. Stay away from the Georgia World Congress Centers at 325 Andrew Young International Boulevard. No further contact. Well, I don't know. I maybe won't worry about the employees there, just to stay away.
Yes, Your Honor.
And
Thank you.
the drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Yes.
Your Honor, is that competency calendar date the 11th or the 18th?
I thought they said before, when we were talking about it, it was the 11th, but it could be.
It's gonna be on the 11th calendar, Judge, for that position number 2.
I'm sorry?
Position number 2, Brown's case is gonna be on the 11th competency calendar.
Yeah, I thought I wrote down the 11th.
Okay, just verifying. Thank you.
Okay. If he doesn't make the 11th, put him on the next one or the 18th. You know, I can just say that if the 11th is too full or he doesn't make it, make sure that he gets on the next available calendar, just to cover myself.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, I think that concludes our cases. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Whenever you're ready, Miss Grace. Or Miss Lewis, who did I say?
Judge, it's Miss Grace, and position number 10 is going to go on the 18th, Miss Lewis said.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready, Judge. Position number 1 is reset further notice with $1,000 good bond. Position number 2, $1,000 good bond, reset 8/11 competency calendar. Position number 3 is a $5,000 SOB bond through the jail. Position number 4 is a $3,500 pretrial bond. Position number 5 is a total of $2,500 good bond. Position number 6, reset further notice, defendant release. Position number 7 is a $2,000 good bond. Position number 8 is a $2,000 good bond. Position number 9 is a $500 good bond. Position number 10 is a $500 good bond, reset 8/18 competency calendar. Position number 11 is a $2,500 pretrial bond per judge. Position number 12 is a $2,500 good bond. Position number 13 is reset further notice, defendant release. Position number 14 is $1,000 good bond. Any questions or concerns?
Position 1 again, I may have written it down wrong. What did you have for the first case?
Position 1, $4,500 pretrial.
Okay, no, that's correct, yeah. All right, I don't have any other questions. Anyone else?
Nope.
All right, enjoy your weekend.
See you later.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Have a
Take
good
care.
one. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bye-bye.